Hello and welcome to Old Man Orange podcast number 2. And today we're going to be talking about the new 52 Suicide Squad by DC. My name is Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And, well, how would you explain what Suicide Squad is?
All right. Well, I'm a big comic guy, and I never read Suicide Squad before. It's something I always wanted to check out. For those of you who don't know, Suicide Squad is generally the I'm stealing this from a review somewhere.
Walt Flanagan.
Walt Flanagan, and plus on the back of the book.
From the Onion Club AV Club on the back.
Yeah, the Dirty Dozen of comic books. Generally, it's a black ops organization that gathers different DC villains they've captured to reduce their sentence, or if they got a life sentence, and puts them into near suicide related missions.
And they keep them in check by they put a little bomb in like the back of their head or neck, somewhere like that. So if they screw up, cling, dead.
Now, I always thought myself as someone who knew a lot about comics. Reading this book, keep in mind this isn't technically, even though it's volume 1 of the New 52, it's not exactly the first one. I was still able to pick up and figure out what was going on. But me knowing what I know about comics, there's so many characters. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
Like Yo-Yo.
Yeah. Like,
I thought that character was a little dumb. I was kind of glad he got eaten by the shark, but
got eaten by King Shark. Yeah, no. Well,
except for the fact he's kind of still alive inside King Shark, like some.
That's gonna come back around later, I'm sure. But
Bible reference.
I do like. I didn't even think of that. That's a good point. Yeah.
Was it
Yo-Yo's arc.
Yeah. Well, that's not the right one, but.
Didn't Noah get eaten by?
No, it wasn't Noah. It was Jonah. Jonah.
Well, then, same kind of logic, really. But anyway, Yo-Yo was kind of a stupid character, I thought. Like he could just shrink and absorb like attacks, but
I thought he just was able to shrink and absorb his body.
He had one line that I really liked, which is, "Yes, my name is Yo-Yo, and no, a string doesn't come out of my ass." Yeah. I did like that line, but beyond that, I don't know what this was like. Is this really a villain? This is the best you got? Well, anyway, one of the cool things about the book is they keep on bringing in different villains and different characters from DC. Some like, oh, they got in Captain Boomerang. That's cool. Oh, like pretty much the characters that are in this whole volume. Because what happens is they often filter through characters because they'll get killed off or they just get transferred for whatever reason. They get injured, kicked out of the fight for a little while. The one that this one predominantly has throughout it is Deadshot. Deadshot's the main character of the book, really. And
that's cool. I like Deadshot.
He was always one of those characters I thought he was all right. I was never really a huge Deadshot fan because I started on Batman, but he's always just plugged in as just kind of like a thug, really. But they made him a really cool character. They made him kind of, he's cold-hearted, yet he has kind of a code.
And he takes charge a lot. It's cool. You know, he leads the team well.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite part of the book. Another character they got in there, there's only a few characters in this book I knew well. The other one, I think everybody who reads comics knows, Harley Quinn, Joker's sidekick. She's a really fun part of the book. She actually causes a lot of complications as the book goes on, which, reading it, keep in mind, this is the New 52. It's kind of the first time I've got back into comics recently. It's not that I didn't like comics, I just kind of fell out of it. And the last Batman book I read before Scott Snyder did Batman New 52 Court of Owls, it was Batman R.I.P. And I just fell kind of behind after that. And reading this, apparently Joker's dead. Joker's been skinned alive. It's like, when the fuck did this happen? So I don't know.
Yeah, it seems kind of like a big thing that we missed out on.
That's like Death of Superman big to me. So I'm kind of surprised that slid by me. But
that's okay. At least
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's just one of those things they mention and they're going to get back to it later, or if it happened in another Batman comic. Because I have Court of Owls. They didn't mention it. I mean, he's not even in Court of Owls. They imply him for a second, but he's not there.
Well, they do something really cool in this one too. I kind of like.
Court of Owls is a Batman book, by the way. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they do this other thing in here where they show a Harley Quinn backstory, and you've seen it before, but the way this one kind of goes is pretty cool. They show her, as she's watching over the Joker at Arkham. There's a psychiatrist.
Harleen Quinlan, was that her name, Quinlan?
I think it's just
her name before.
Harleen
Quinn.
I think it just might be Quinn. I don't know.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit that bothered you about that, though?
Well, there was only one part that kind of bothered me, and these are these small things that throw me off in any kind of story. Is at the end, Joker's leading her away after they just killed some people and broke out of Arkham. and they're going to the pit where Joker, originally got burned, or not burned, but acid away his skin and everything. And he throws her in there. I'm like, well, that's fine. I don't mind that. It makes sense. Let's both be crazy and look white and pale. But when he drains and she comes out, her hair is already dyed in the red and blue or side color. Two-tone, I guess. I don't know what you want to call that. But one side's red, the other side's blue. And I just don't understand how this green acid that makes Joker's hair green and his skin white somehow makes Harley Quinn's skin not as white as Joker's, but she gets this multicolored hair.
Keep in mind we're in the logic of a world where there's a guy who can fly, wears a blue suit, and take bullets to the face.
And there's a guy that looks like Jabberjaw who eats people. But
still. Yeah, King Shark actually was really cool.
And that character looked kind of retarded at first, but actually it's pretty cool. I actually kind of enjoyed that character. He killed everything I hated in the book.
Every single time something pissed you off, he ate Yo-Yo. It's like, God, I hope... because I don't know if there's certain characters that kind of come and go. I'm not completely sure if they died. El Diablo gets taken out. El Diablo is a guy. He's a character I really liked. He's a
Mexican.
He's a Mexican. I think he used to be like a Mexican gang leader. He's a character I never knew about. And he has tattoos. And the less tattoos he has, they appear. Like he absorbs fire, and the more fire he has, the tattoos disappear. And then once he uses all his firepower, the tattoos reappear. It's something weird like that. And he has this whole code thing. He has this whole thing of redemption. He's actually glad to be a member of the Suicide Squad because he was in a drive-by and he meant to kill a gang leader, but he accidentally killed everybody in the house. And there's a lot of women and children there, so he has this whole sense of... It's kind of cool to have one character that has a sense of humanity on the team. That being El Diablo and a little bit of Black Spider, which is a character I never knew about, but apparently he's kind of a vigilante from Gotham who tried to kill villains, but Batman stopped them. So, but why don't you talk for a little while?
Oh, well, I guess I could talk some more. No, yeah, the El Diablo character was pretty cool. I liked him. The way he went about was pretty cool, and he was the different one. He was probably the best good guy. He kind of had the Malcolm X thing where he's like, I went to jail, I did wrong, now I'm gonna somehow fix the error of my ways.
Which is kind of cool, because after a while, you're like, who wants to fucking kill and rape? Me too, yeah! So it's cool to have one character that was actually
at first there was the 6 main characters that started off in the book, and you had Deadshot, who was the leader, El Diablo, who was kind of, the voice of reason.
King Shark,
who killed and ate everything.
Yeah, Black Spider, who's not really a bad guy, he just
can't fight crime like Batman.
He just can't fight crime like Batman because he kills. So he's there, and he's like, I hate this team. I don't really want to be here.
And then Harley Quinn's there is the Looney.
And you had Voltic. Who was a he's electricity-based. Yeah, Voltic, though. He was an electricity-based villain. And he was just, no morals, just, I like to shock shit. And there's someone else. I think Savant, or what was his name? Because he was there for a little while, but he betrayed him.
I remember there just being 6
there was
in the beginning.
There was 6, and then the 2 or 3 people, they're like
they got kind of killed off along the way. But
at some point, there's actually like little bits here and there like this. I like what they do with Deadshot because moments he'll be like a heartless bastard. Then you see him, you understand why he's doing what he's doing to a certain degree. And I guess that happens to a lot of type of villains, but it's just something I've never seen with Deadshot. He was always a character. He came in, he killed a few people, Batman swooped down, kicked his ass. It's interesting seeing things from his perspective for once. Maybe that was in the earlier Suicide Squad books. I never read those, but New 52 seemed a good place to pick up. I like the part, there's a part where there is some kind of it makes people sort of like zombies, a genetically engineered disease, which makes them sort of robot-like zombies. I don't know how other way to describe it other than that. Like robotics appear around their face and their bodies. And one of them actually almost raped Harley Quinn. That part was a little awkward, but one of them actually tries to rape Harley Quinn for a second. But King Shark comes in and bites its head off. And from there, there's a scene where they're killing people left and right, and they get rid of them all. Voltic walks in. He says, "All right, well, how are we going to cover this with the press? We got a whole bunch of dead civilians here. How's Amanda Waller, the leader, going to cover this up?" "Oh, it's simple. One villain went crazy and killed all these civilians." "How?" They shoot Voltic right there in the head. So it's one of those things then later you see him. Apparently they have I think it's a friend's daughter or like a niece or something that Deadshot's doing all this for. They have her in captivity and he's trying to. It's his one motivation. That was something I never seen before for Deadshot. So.
Yeah, there was a.
I don't know what she was. They didn't really say, but it was a little girl that he was very close with. So
You mean the little Chinese girl?
little Chinese girl, yeah. And then they also had
Oh, here we go, the little Chinese girl. Some
she
motivation.
didn't say Uncle Floyd or nothing like that. So
She was just kind of happy to see him.
my Uncle Floyd kills for a living. Yay!
She probably doesn't know that.
No, probably doesn't, but still. Then they brought in some other characters, like we said, characters coming
There's
out.
those twins.
Limelight.
Yeah.
Lime and Light, which they were kind of annoying, kind of stupid. One of them got their head blown off. So
Yeah, so it was all worth it in the end.
I think they're Green Lantern villains, not Green Lantern, Green Arrow villains. Because this book, like I said,
It's kind of the mixed mash of villains.
yeah, because there's a lot of characters in here that come and go, and you're just like, where the fuck did this guy come from? I don't remember. Then you get anyway, I want to talk about actually King Shark for a second, because King Shark was a really cool character. At first, I just assumed he was probably a Aquaman villain, but as I actually looked into him after I was done reading this, apparently he's a Superman villain. And
Is he from Superboy or Super?
I mean, that's Superboy. That's what I meant to say. He's apparently, which that seems like the most random character for Superboy to fight, but he was actually probably one of my favorite members of the team. He's not really a mustache twirler. He's not really like, I'm just gonna kill everything. He just does. He just kind of
a shark. He just
he's a
eats.
shark. He just goes off pure instincts. That's all this character really is. Then you got Yo-Yo, which we already talked about, which he dies pretty quickly, but he's still sort of there. Captain Boomerang comes in for an issue of this graphic novel, and he's actually, I really like Captain Boomerang. I'm a Flash fan, but in this particular book, they really make him the bitch character. They really make him like, I'm in charge, guys. You gotta do what I say. See, I got a bob. And later, you find out that he's not really in charge.
Well, he's threatening them. He says the whole time he's got the switch that can blow up their heads, pretty much. But then he learns later on, that switch doesn't work, and why would they give it to me anyways?
Well, they were using him because they were going after an organization that really, I think they're called the Serpent. No, they're called Coil. That's what they're called, the Coil. And they had like this whole Serpent thing. They don't like metahumans. They don't like superheroes. They're trying to build a resistance towards them, which is weird because it looks like the leader is a metahuman, but whatever.
Well, she kind of looked like Baraka on like Mortal Kombat.
She did kind of, yeah. And what ends up happening is you find out that the only reason they brought Captain Boomerang was just to settle a score. Like, here's some payment for you. You always wanted him, right? So give us. I think it was a trade-off, something like that, and everyone was aware of it, but Boomerang. So I thought that was kind of a cool little twist.
Yeah, no, his part was small, but it worked.
He's gonna be alive. Which there's actually a bit of a shocker here. This one is a major spoiler, so I might want to read the book first and come back to this later if you don't want it to be too spoiled for you. But Harley Quinn actually dies at the end of this book, which is something I really didn't see coming.
I have no idea what happens next, but
it really ends very abruptly because what happens is Harley Quinn finds out Joker's been killed. Like we said, Joker was killed earlier. He was skinned alive.
And she goes to look for his face.
She goes to look for his face, which is kept at the bottom of like an Arkham PD. And she gets it, and to actually escape the Suicide Squad, she initiates they don't show how, but somehow she sets up a jailbreak and a riot in Belle Reve, which sets loose a bunch of characters. That's where a couple characters get killed off. I'm not sure if Black Spider died back there or just got hurt. I don't know if El Diablo was killed or if he was just hurt. But they just kind of go. Then the new mission is we got to hunt down Harley Quinn.
And that's a two-parter.
That's a two-parter. That's a pretty interesting one. That's where we get the flashback of Harley Quinn and all that. And from there, we at some point she manages. It's actually a very creepy scene, but actually a very well-written scene. She manages to knock out Deadshot and tie him up, and she puts Joker's face on top of his face, and she talks to him like she's talking to Joker because she's saying everything she's always wanted to say to Joker, but she can't because he's dead. So she's using the next best thing, which is someone with his face on. And Deadshot actually goes along with it for a while, but he actually has a hidden gun. And when she leans in and kisses him, he shoots her in the stomach.
And that's how the comic ends.
And that's where the book ends. So keep in mind, it could end like we say she's dead. If she's not dead, at some point she's going to come back to life. It's a comic book series. If not that, maybe she's just in critical condition and she'll be back in later, or she'll be back in Batman. There's no way they're going to kill off a character like Harley Quinn forever. She'll be back. Just like Joker will be back at some point even if he is dead. So
Yeah, Joker, he always manages to find a way, just like in Batman Beyond.
yeah. Yeah, he did. Yeah, gets electrocuted by one version he was electrocuted by Tim Drake, another version he was impaled by Tim Drake. He still came back somehow
Through Tim Drake.
through Tim Drake. That was actually a really good movie. But yeah, so
Yep. That book was pretty darn good, and I really recommend it if you haven't read it. It's an interesting take on a bunch of villains that you
probably
never
don't know
see
of.
together. Yeah.
Which there's a few villains in there. Like I said, there's only a few villains I was really aware of: Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, and Deadshot. And I knew of King Shark. I never
Yeah,
really
I've
knew
heard of that, but
I knew of him. I knew about him. I just assumed he's a shark. He has to be an Aquaman villain. Nope. But he was actually a pretty cool character. I would like to see more of Black Spider and El Diablo. I was a little down to see they got knocked out of the team, and we had to settle for later Yo-Yo and Limelight, which one of Lime and Light. That we say Limelight, but it's Lime and Light. And what their ability is they have like bright lights. Actually, I currently just read Green Arrow 52.
yeah, it was kind of just the lime and light. It almost sounds kind of like some form of like Sprite drink.
It really does. I was like, I'm kind of thirsty every time I read their name.
They even got like the same color code almost.
Yeah, it really
Like
does.
the lemon lime, like hair blonde.
Well,
Green suits.
In Green Arrow, New 52, which I'm in the middle of reading. We're not covering that one because that one came out like 2 months ago. That one, they're in there, and they're just kind of like that. That's actually kind of an interesting take because that one's presenting super villains like they're attention whores, like they're Paris Hilton or Lindsay Lohan. Like start like going online saying, "Hey, like us, like follow us, check us out." You know, they film themselves doing like bank robberies, and they go to club, and in that book they actually get knocked out and captured, and then they're in this book right here, which one of them gets their head blown off.
Cool.
And their whole thing was, I think they can create illusions with light or something.
Because they make King Shark look like Clayface.
Yeah. So I just throw in Clayface. I'd like to see Clayface join the Suicide Squad.
That would be cool. I like Clayface. That's one of my favorite Batman villains.
I like to see Captain Cold from Flash.
There's probably a lot of cool ones add to it.
Characters come and go all the time, but I mean, I guess this is one of those things for like big time comic fans. You could really like think like, oh, it would be an awesome Suicide Squad. So, but I guess that's the problem. Characters keep on coming and going and dying, and oh, we need this character for this particular book over here, so get him out of Suicide Squad. So.
Well, I think that's time to call it an end on this one. So tune in next week, and we'll probably be talking about Total Recall, the new one. See how that one goes.
I don't think it's going to be as good as...
That's my favorite movie of all time is Total Recall of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, it's not gonna have that, so I'm a little... I'd say it's a little biased. I'm hoping at some point Colin Farrell does... I don't know how it's going to sound. It's not going to sound as magical as
well, it's like, I'm just kind of bummed because it's PG-13, and what really made Total Recall, the original one, really good was...
The intense
violence.
Yeah. Well, it's apparently, from what I heard...
When you're 5 years old and you're watching Total Recall for the first time, you just see all this stuff you've never seen before.
And not very many like science fiction films like that got that violent.
No, and it was also one of the last science films to use models and things like that. You know, they use a little bit of CG in it, but that was kind of, after that, it just became all CG.
Well, I'm going to try and go in there and separate my mind from the original.
I'm taking it with an open mind.
I hear it's more based off the book, which I don't know how accurate.
I think it's a short story,
is.
actually, which a lot of those sci-fi ones always are, strangely enough.
Like Shawshank Redemption's like a 2.5-hour movie, but like a little short book, a little short story. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
So next week, Total Recall.
See you then.